This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by promoter Ben Shalom here in London. Ben, firstly, how are you?
Really good, really happy. Finally here, finally weighed in. Been waiting for that moment for a long time. So I'm both on weight, both look great. Both very, very confident.
Fiery face-offs up there. Let's start off with Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, the main event. What did you take away from seeing them both on the scales and what they had to say in the post-weigh-in interviews?
What I took was they've seen each other enough now. They've been together so many media days behind the gloves and everything. So they know each other very well. They weigh in bang on weight, both of them exactly the same weight, both confident, both ready, both look good. It's good because I really believe they both believe they're winning on Saturday night, and I can see that in Savannah's eyes, and I know Clarissa never thinks she's going to lose, and it makes something very special. It's elite championship boxing. For any boxing fan, for any boxing purist, this is everything. This is what you want to see. You want to see fighters in their prime for all the belts, for the Ring magazine as well. All I know is I don't know what's going to happen. I hope Savannah can put in the performance we all think she can. But Clarissa looks ready as well, and the expectation for this is off the scale.
Ben, Clarissa very much living up to the role of a villain, shall we say, with her speech afterwards. Do you feel like Savannah's beneath her skin now?
I think Savannah's a very good talker now. She's got a great sense of humour, and I've seen her. She headlined with us like 12 months ago, and she couldn't believe she was headlining above Eubank and Fury, and to see the development, and she's obviously sold out up in Newcastle before this, so she's ready now. She wanted to take this fight on the right time for her, when she was ready, when she felt like she had learnt enough, when she'd been fine-tuning enough with Peter Fury. This is her moment, and I think Clarissa knows she's going to get the best Savannah Marshall on Saturday night, and that's a scary prospect for anyone, because no one hits as hard as her, and Clarissa has never had to face someone like that, and she knows that Savannah, if she flicks the switch and she does catch, it can be an early night.
Because of a build-up, because of a rivalry as well, Ben, when they step between the ropes, how confident are you that neither of them, or in obviously your case for Savannah, she doesn't let her emotions get the better of her because of how much a victory would mean?
I don't think there's any danger of that. I think Savannah is cool as anything. She was born for this. Truly believe that. She's a superstar. Clarissa's obviously is not going to feel any nerves, but for the first time they're going to be boxing in front of 20,000 or whatever the capacity is, 18,000 people. It's a new experience for both of them. I don't think they ever thought they could headline this. We could have gone to Newcastle and sold it out in minutes, but we decided this was a big event, big international event at the O2. Yes, it's a different level of attention, a different level of pressure, but they're superstars. They're ready for this, both of them, and I think we're going to see the best of both of them on Saturday, and we're going to see who's the better fighter is.
The potential for a rematch has been discussed throughout this week. Let's say if that one was to be explored and it was to happen, what do you think would be most likely? If that take place maybe up north, or are we looking towards a stateside visit?
I don't know. You know what? I would love to see this fight over 12 threes, and we pushed for it this time. They're both phenomenal athletes. They're both in the middleweight division, almost like the heavyweight division. They're built like animals. They could easily do 12 threes. I'd love to do that, but they both believe they're going to win on Saturday night, and that the other opponent won't want to face them again. So, look, it's an iconic rivalry. It's one we've not seen before in women's boxing. Usually they happen again, but I expect both of these fighters to believe that Saturday night will be the end of this rivalry, the end of the talking, and I think the winner of this becomes the biggest star in female boxing. I really believe that. They both know what's on the line, and it's a special moment.
Mikaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgardner again, very heated exchanges up there, and Mikaela Mayer kicking out at Alicia Baumgardner. What went through your mind at that point, Ben?
That fight is the one that's probably benefited off the 4 weeks, because it's built and built. We know Shields Marshall, we know the rivalry, we've seen it for years. This one has had an extra 4 weeks for people to see how much is on the line, how much is at stake, how much they dislike each other. They're completely different people, aren't they? And I saw Mikaela kicking out at the end, and I was like, Jesus, they are ready for this. And it could steal the show, because it is an unbelievable fight that could headline any card. It's the best chief support we could dream of for Shields Marshall, the best chief support on an all-female card. And to be honest, without that fight, I don't think an all-women's card is possible. And two ridiculous fights to look forward to for any boxing fan.
Ben, I've been told that this fight's been made available to all who have access to Sky, but I don't want to obviously give a wrong information on that one. So can you just clear up as to how that one's all come about and how happy you are to be able to deliver so?
Yeah, the decision was taken was, this is not happened before. This is something that can be such a ridiculous advert, amazing advert for the sport. Let's make sure it can be seen as many people as possible. So Sky Showcase, I'm pretty sure it's on Sky Showcase, Sky Main Event, all the Sky channels. We expect viewing figures to be we expect this to be the biggest Sky Sports fight night of all time, and so to do it on Shields Marshall is massive, and fair play for Sky, because it's a hugely expensive night this, and they've made it available to everyone, and I think it's going to have lasting effects on the sport.
What's the biggest hope beyond Saturday night that you want it to achieve in terms of a lasting effect?
I think for people to tune in on Saturday night that aren't boxing fans and not believe that's women's boxing, I think it's a massive thing, not just for women's boxing, but for the sport of boxing. That the fact that the sport has developed this far, you know, people talk about the sport being stuck in the dark ages and still operating like something that it shouldn't be. The lasting effect of this can be, this sport is now huge. Look what it can do with just the women's side of it, and hopefully it changes the women's side of the sport forever.
Ben, obviously we've seen yourself and Sky push female boxing since you teamed up and beyond, and before that as well. But how key of a factor was that in your negotiations when you did team up, that you both said that you see it being kind of at the forefront of your ideas?
Not just, I mean, it was just underdeveloped. I think someone was telling me when Savannah turned over in 2017, there were like 9 licensed boxers in the UK or something like that. And to be here now, 10 years later, and to be able to do this is incredible. I think part of the reason is boxing is seen as I say, backward, intimidating. Some people don't like to go to the events, and the women's side of the sport is what can be developed to change the whole sport, to bring in new partners, bring in new sponsors. And there was such talent coming through with Lauren Price, with Caroline Dubois, with Caris Hartingstall, Shannon Ryan who's on the card, Emily Jones, Georgia O'Connor. There's guys now turning over, females now turning over with a dream to become superstars because of Savannah, because of Clarissa. We just needed to give them the platform. We're in control of who gets the big paydays and who gets the big nights. This one's deserving of it. And what it will do now for girls in the gyms and women in the gyms that believe they can be the next Savannah Marshall, I think that's special. And yeah, it's a big focus of ours. Obviously the whole sport is, but the women's side has just developed incredibly.
Just on this show, Ben, I'm sure you've seen some comments from Eddie Hearn questioning whether or not there was VADA testing involved in the build-up to this. And then I think it was like last night, VADA put out a tweet saying that both fighters had been involved since July time. But I just want to get your thoughts on Eddie's comments.
It's a strange thing to say, isn't it? But read into it what you will. Why are we talking about drug testing about this? It's elite championship boxing. They've been tested multiple times for the first event and the postponed event. I'm not really sure why we're talking about it. We've had enough problems last week. This is an event that we can all be proud of. Make of it what you will. I'm not going to get into it.
That's fair enough, Ben. Obviously, moving on from that one, I spoke to Johnny Nelson yesterday, who suggested Kell Brook could be returning in March. Have you had any discussions there over potential fights?
I speak to Kell a lot. I always do. Look, he looked in unbelievable shape in his last fight, but I thought, you know what, Kell? You retired on the best night of your career. It was unbelievable for him. He loved it. One of the best nights. Obviously, he won a world title out in the US, but for him, that was everything. So I supported that decision. But if he wants to come back and he thinks there's big fights, which there are out there for him, then fair enough. But it won't be this year. Maybe next year. Let's see. But yeah, we never know with Kell.
Johnny said to me March time he could be looking to come back. I've spoken to you previously about a potential fight between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr., but I've asked Liam Smith in the past about a potential fight with Kell Brook. Do you think that's a makeable bout?
Definitely. I know Kell would fancy that as well. I think it's a big fight. There was a lot of talk, I remember, in the middle of the careers about Liam facing Kell, and it never happened, and people thought that would be an incredible fight then. I think now Kell's obviously a bit bigger. He'd probably be comfortable fighting at 154 as well. So now it could make sense, and it could be an unbelievable fight. And it's one Liam's always wanted, and it never quite happened. So yeah, I think that is a big fight. But again, you just don't know what Kell's going to do. And if he does come back, I think that's the perfect fight for him.
Ben, just a couple of other questions. I'm curious on, obviously you've been with Sky now for over a year. How would you assess your journey together so far?
Good. I mean, we've had 12 months to build fighters. It's not a long time. Savannah was one of our first signings, so very proud of the journey that she's gone on. And yeah, it's been a crazy 12 months. I can't wait for the next 12. I think I'm very proud of the team. We've done incredibly well. I mean, Sky Sports Boxing was considered dead at 12 months ago. They had every fighter taken completely. We had nothing. There was nothing left, no stable. All the millions of pounds that they'd invested into all the fighters was gone. It was start again time. getting to know the new teams, and we had to do it very, very quickly. So, yeah, it's crazy to think where we are now. Crazy to think that the stable that we've got now, incredible stable. We think we've got the best young stable in the country, and I can't wait to see them all develop and have more big nights like this.
In terms of building then and looking towards the next 12 months, are there any names in particular who you look at and you think could be achievable to try and bring into the boxer family, as it were, fighter-wise?
I can't look. I think people have seen what we've done in the past 12 months, and I think they've seen now the power of Sky is still here to stay, and a lot was talked about whether Sky was still influential in boxing and still had that. People have seen now the power of the platform, and we've seen it with fighters coming across and wanting to be on the platform, seeing our events, seeing that we can put on the big events, and that was half the battle at the start. So now we've got to be smart. It's a different game to when it was at the start. It was almost like at the start, who can we get? You know, you're rushing around trying to put on fights within 4 weeks, and it's hard. But now, stable's there, and we can be more selective, and we want the guys that think they can go to the very top, not the ones that want to take. And fair play to them, it's a short career, but there's always paychecks out there. But the ones that really want to become superstars, that's what we're interested in. And I won't mention names, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting few months.
When you teamed up with Sky, a lot of people saw Sky staying in the sport thinking there was big money on offer. Did you ever feel like in negotiations with any fighters that they was more so interested in the money rather than the career path you could have placed for them?
No, I think because we had no fighters at the start, we had to get the fighters that we needed, and we believed in a few of them: the Adam Azeems, the Ben Whitakers, the Fraser Clarks, the Caroline Dubois, the Lauren Prices, the Carrie Sartingstores, the whole Olympic team. We want to invest in the future. We feel like this is the best place to grow them, but now it's a different ball game. We think we're the best place to be for a boxer, and yeah, at the start we had to make sure that we got what we wanted, and we think it's worked out well, and now we can look forward to a more selective 12 months.
Any imminent announcements signing-wise?
There will be a couple, very, very imminent and very exciting, and yeah, fighters that we could have never dreamed of signing 12 months ago, and that's testament to the team and the fighters now feel comfortable.
I'm interested to know, Ben, are there any fighters who you tried to negotiate with previously who you was unable to get over the line, who you wish you could have maybe done more for, or you wish were a part of your stable?
It's difficult because there's historic contracts. We're a brand new promoter, so you look at the fighters at the top of other stables. They've been there for years, way before we got involved. So we have to be respectful, wait for contracts to end, wait for fighters to become available. So there's fighters that we would of course want, and we know there's fighters that would love to be with us, but you have to wait, and it's been 12 months, and a lot of these contracts are a lot longer than 12 months, so you have to take your time, be patient, choose selectively. In terms of ones that got away, I think anyone that's been available that we wanted so far, we're really happy that we've managed to achieve it, and hopefully the same going forward.
It's a good way not to give me any names there, Ben, but moving on once again.
It's not right to talk about fighters that aren't with us, is it?
That's fair enough, Ben. And just moving on to a couple of other topics, some reports coming out, Otto-Wallin may be stepping in with Anthony Joshua next. Just get your thoughts on that if that was to go ahead.
I love it because Dimitri gets his payday, and obviously, yeah, that would be a great fight for Otto. And whoever AJ fights, it's a big night for them. And it'd be interesting to see. Otto did well against Tyson Fury. We obviously had him on our card in Cardiff against Kamil Stokolowski, and yeah, it'll be nice for Otto to get his big fight, because obviously it was gutting for him what happened with the Dillian Whyte situation when Dillian got injured, and he's been waiting for his big moment, and fingers crossed he gets it.
Wilder-Helenius this weekend. Everybody's wondering how much Deontay has left on the back of his trilogy with Tyson. What do you expect to see from him? I
don't know. No one knows, because he's been out of the ring that long. It's great to see him back. I saw some pictures from the weigh-in. It's great to see Deontay Wilder back in the boxing, back in the heavyweight division. What a character! He's still got huge fights to come. He's only lost to who is considered now Tyson Fury, the best heavyweight on the planet. So good to see him back. Good to see the heavyweight division moving. Hopefully we see the big fights for Deontay, and he's back to his best.
And final one, Ben, some reports that Dillian Whyte may be facing Franklin next. Can you fill me in?
I've heard the same reports you have. I think he wanted to fight back, and Jermaine's. I don't know. We don't know too much about him. I know he was going to fight him a while ago, wasn't he? But Dillian's good. It's good that he's back moving and back active, and I look forward to it.
Well, Ben, I'll leave you now to enjoy the rest of your day and your interviews that you've got to come. Thanks for speaking to me in ID Boxing.
Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers, mate.